the habit you didn't know you needed, and the philosophy that will change your life. What if your biggest problem wasn't what's happening around you, but how you've been taught to respond to it? You've been lied to. The world tells you to hustle harder, to build confidence through results, to manage stress with breathing apps, to become someone better through products, praise, and performance. But the truth is, that's backwards. You don't become calm by escaping chaos. You become calm by learning to walk through it. And you don't become strong by avoiding pain. You become strong by facing it, and choosing who you are in it. That's what the Stoics knew. That's what no one tells you. And that's what we're going to unpack in this series, one habit at a time. Why habits fail, and what Stoicism fixes. Most people try to change their life through motivation, discipline, new routines, more goals. And most people fail. Why? Because they focus on what they do, not who they're becoming. Stoicism flips that. It doesn't ask, what should I do today? It asks, what kind of person am I training myself to be? And from that question, everything changes. Your choices get clearer. Your actions become aligned. Your habits become natural instead of forced. What makes Stoicism different? Other philosophies give you theories. Stoicism gives you tools. It's not about sounding wise, it's about becoming resilient. It's not about abstract knowledge, it's about how you respond in a fight, in grief, in traffic, in heartbreak. It's about living every day like it matters, because it does. The world is loud. Stoicism is quiet. We live in an age of noise. Every second you scroll, something tries to sell you a version of yourself, more productive, more attractive, more admired, more optimized. But Stoicism doesn't want you to be more. It wants you to be less shaken, less reactive, less desperate for control, less dependent on praise, less enslaved by outcomes. And in that less, you'll find your freedom. A philosophy forged in fire. Stoicism wasn't born in a classroom. It was born in chaos. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations while leading an empire through war and plague. Epictetus was a crippled slave who taught emotional freedom to men who had everything but peace. Seneca was a political advisor walking a knife edge between power and death under Nero's regime. These were not monks meditating in caves. They were humans like you, struggling with power and powerlessness, uncertainty and fear, loss and responsibility. And through it all, they built something unshakable inside themselves. You may not control the world, but you can always control how you meet it. Stoic principle. The core truth of this entire series. There is only one thing you can truly control in life. Your response. Not your circumstances, not your timeline, not your reputation, not your past, not your future, only your response. And every one of the 7 Stoic habits in this series will train you to master it. Why this series exists? Most people think Stoicism is dry, intellectual, cold, outdated. That's a shame. Because Stoicism is deeply human, emotionally honest, raw, relevant, and if taught the right way, it doesn't make you robotic. It makes you real, real strength, real discipline, real clarity. This series exists to make Stoicism practical, not poetic. You won't find lectures here, you'll find practices. And by the end, you'll have 7 daily habits, 7 mental resets, 7 emotional upgrades, 7 tools that no one teaches, but everyone needs. What's next? In the next part, we begin with the habit that quietly sets the tone for your entire life, how you start your day. Most people wake up to chaos. Stoics wake up with clarity. When you rise in the morning, ask, what is required of me today? As a human being? Marcus Aurelius. The morning reset, how Stoics win the day before it starts. What if the first 5 minutes of your day determined everything, from your focus, to your resilience, to your sense of purpose? Most people wake up into chaos. You open your eyes, your phone's buzzing, your inbox is full. There's a sense of urgency, before you've even left your bed. No wonder you feel scattered, anxious, reactive. From the moment you wake up, The world is pulling at you, demanding you to respond before you've even decided who you want to be. That's why Stoics did something different. They didn't begin the day by default. They began it by design. And that's the power of the morning reset. What is the morning reset? It's a 3 to 10 minute daily habit where you ground yourself in Stoic values, clarify your intentions, mentally prepare for life's challenges, and remind yourself, I may not control what happens today, but I do control who I choose to be. The morning reset is not about motivation. It's not about hyping yourself up. It's about becoming anchored before the wind blows. How Marcus Aurelius started his day. At dawn. When you have trouble getting out of bed, remind yourself, I'm rising to do the work of a human being. Meditations. Book 5. Marcus was a Roman emperor, general, philosopher. He had every reason to be exhausted, overwhelmed, distracted. Yet he reminded himself every morning why he was alive, what his duty was, how easily the day could be lost if he wasn't vigilant. This wasn't a performance. It was a personal code. The 3 elements of a Stoic morning. 1. Recenter with identity. Before you do anything, ask, who do I want to be today? Not what do I want to accomplish, not how do I feel, not what's on my calendar, but who, as in what kind of character you'll bring into the world. Examples: today I will be calm, even when interrupted. Today I will be honest, even when it's inconvenient. Today I will act with courage, not comfort. Memo emoji. This single intention anchors your energy for the rest of the day. 2. Premeditatio malorum. Anticipate the inevitable. Every day brings setbacks. The Stoics knew this. So instead of being surprised, they practiced premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Imagine the rude comment, the delayed meeting, the unexpected bill, the moment of temptation. Now ask, how will I respond with virtue? What's the wise, composed version of me going to do? You've just trained your mind to respond, not react. Now, when problems arise, you're not shaken. You're ready. 3. Detachment from outcome. Before you walk out the door, remind yourself, I am not promised success, approval, or reward. I am only responsible for my effort and my principles. This removes pressure. You don't need the world to behave. You only need yourself to stay aligned. And that's the Stoic's greatest freedom. Sample 5-minute Stoic morning routine. You can do this in bed. No apps. No noise. Just intention. Sit up. Close your eyes. Breathe. 30 seconds. Settle your nervous system. Begin from stillness. Ask, who do I want to be today? 1 minute. Choose 1 to 2 virtues to embody. Visualize 2 to 3 common challenges. 2 minutes. See them. Feel them. Plan your calm response. Repeat a personal mantra. 1 minute. Examples: only my choices are mine. I respond. I don't react. Peace is a practice. You're done. 5 minutes. And your day has started from power, not panic. Bonus tip: avoid digital chaos for 30 minutes. Don't touch your phone for the first half hour. Why? Because it puts other people's agendas in your brain before you've even established your own. Stoics didn't scroll. They scanned themselves first. Why this matters: you can't always control how your day ends, but you can control how it starts. You can either begin reactive, distracted, fragmented, or begin reflective, aligned, centered. The difference: one creates burnout, the other builds inner freedom. What happens over time? Practice this reset for 30 days. And you'll notice less anxiety, better decision-making, greater emotional distance from drama, a deeper sense of control, not of events, but of yourself. You'll stop waking up to survive and start waking up to lead your life. Final reflection: begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty. But none of these things can harm me if I do not let them. Marcus Aurelius. This is your shield, your daily compass, your quiet rebellion against the noise. And it starts first thing in the morning. Premeditatio malorum. How Stoics prepare for everything. even pain. What if your stress didn't come from events themselves, but from your false belief that they weren't supposed to happen? Why you're always surprised by life? Let's be honest. Most people wake up hoping for a smooth day. They expect everything to go according to plan, people to behave well, nothing to break, emotions to stay stable. And then, the train is late. Someone cuts you off. You mess up your pitch. A client ghosts you. Boom, stress, frustration, anxiety. But here's the thing. These aren't exceptions to life. They are life. The Stoics understood this truth, and they trained for it. What is premeditatio malorum? Premeditatio malorum is Latin for the premeditation of evils. It's the act of mentally rehearsing what could go wrong before it happens, so you're never surprised, never shaken, and always ready. This isn't pessimism, it's mental strength training. Just like a firefighter doesn't wait for the fire to practice, a Stoic doesn't wait for the crisis to develop character. They do it beforehand. Why it works, psychologically speaking. Modern psychology calls this technique defensive pessimism, cognitive rehearsal, exposure therapy. When you imagine difficulties ahead of time, you reduce emotional shock when they occur. Activate your reasoning before emotions hijack you. Regain agency in how you'll respond. In other words, you move from victim of circumstance author of response. How Epictetus trained his mind for pain. When you kiss your child goodnight, say to yourself, they may not wake tomorrow. Do this not to be morbid, but to love more fully, without illusion. Epictetus. It's not about detachment. It's about appreciation without denial. The Stoics didn't ignore death, hardship, betrayal, or loss. They faced them every day, in their minds, so they could respond with wisdom, not panic. The 3 levels of premeditatio malorum. You can practice this habit in small, medium, or large doses. Brain emoji, level 1, daily disruptions. Each morning, imagine 2 to 3 simple inconveniences: a rude coworker, a delayed delivery, a tech failure. Then ask, what response aligns with my best self? What virtue will I practice? Patience? Restraint? Humor? This turns annoyances into training reps for character. Fire emoji, level 2, real risks. Think about a meaningful situation today. A big meeting, a difficult conversation, a fragile relationship. Now imagine it going wrong. Ask, if they say no, who will I be? If this fails, what strength will I show? You're not manifesting disaster. You're preparing for reality. This removes emotional chaos, and replaces it with calm readiness. Candle emoji, level 3, deep acceptance. This is where the practice becomes spiritual. Once a week, reflect on loss, death, health, betrayal. Not to depress yourself, but to remember what truly matters. To cherish life as it is, not as you expect it to be. Let each thing you would do, say, or intend be like that of a dying person. Marcus Aurelius. This doesn't make you cold. It makes you grateful, present, and strong. A sample daily practice, 3 to 5 minutes. Step 1. Close your eyes. Take 3 slow breaths. Step 2. Visualize a common frustration. Imagine it in vivid detail. Hear the sounds. Feel the stress. Step 3. Name the emotion. What do I feel? Anger? Fear? Embarrassment? Step 4. Name your chosen response. I will stay calm. I will not retaliate. I will return to reason. Step 5. Smile. Because when it happens, you'll already have chosen strength. Why most people avoid this, and why you shouldn't. People fear this practice because they think, if I think about bad things, they'll happen. It's too negative. I don't want to ruin my mood. But that's not Stoic. That's fragile. Stoicism isn't about toxic positivity. It's about emotional immunity. Just like a vaccine trains your body to respond, not to panic, when the virus comes. Premeditatio malorum trains your mind and soul to hold steady when life gets messy. Real-world applications. Entrepreneur? Prepare for rejection. Parent? Prepare for tantrums. Spouse? Prepare for miscommunication. Leader? Prepare for failure. Human? Prepare for everything you cannot control. And through it all, Anchor yourself to this: no event is ever entirely in my hands. But my response? Always. Final word, when it happens. It won't surprise you. Imagine this: you walk into your day already mentally rehearsed. The surprises still come, but they don't own you. You don't flinch. You don't spiral. You respond, because you trained your mind when others hoped for luck. That's the power of premeditatio malorum. Not fear, but freedom. Not anxiety, but armor. The power of pause, mastering the moment before you react. What if the most important skill in your entire life came down to 3 seconds of silence? You regret what you say too fast, never what you say too late. Think back to the last time you snapped at someone you love, sent a message you wish you hadn't, reacted with ego instead of calm. Let anger make a decision for you. Chances are, all of it happened instantly. There was no gap, no filter, no thought. Just emotion reaction damage. This is why the Stoics believed that self-control is impossible without self-awareness. And self-awareness is impossible without pause. Don't let your mind be carried away by appearances. Take a moment to collect yourself. Epictetus. The world trains you to react. Stoicism trains you to choose. Modern life is all about speed. Instant messaging, one-click purchases, rapid opinions, swipe, scroll, post, reply. But Stoicism offers a radical alternative. Slow down, observe, choose, then act. This tiny pause, that space between stimulus and response, is where all your power lives. Why pausing is power: neuroscience plus philosophy. In psychology, there's a term, cognitive reappraisal, the ability to mentally step back from a trigger and reframe it before acting. The Stoics practiced this before it had a name. They understood, your brain's first reaction is ancient. It's designed for survival, not wisdom. Your second reaction is yours. That's where your training kicks in. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose. In our choice lies our growth and freedom. Viktor Frankl, a modern Stoic in spirit. What a Stoic pause looks like. You hear an insult, you feel the heat, you pause, you choose restraint. You get bad news, you feel panic, you pause, you breathe. Then act with clarity. You feel jealousy, you pause, you ask, what value am I ignoring within myself? A Stoic doesn't suppress emotion. They acknowledge it, but don't obey it. The pause gives them time to ask, what is the wise response here? Not, what will feel good right now? Micro practices to build the pause habit. You don't need a meditation cushion. You just need intention. Try these. 1. Name the emotion. 1 second. Say internally, that's anger. Or that's fear. Naming breaks emotional possession. 2. Ask a Stoic question. 2 seconds. Is this in my control? What virtue does this moment require? What would the best version of me do? 3. Breathe deeply. 3 seconds. One slow breath shifts your brain out of fight or flight. These 3 steps can interrupt a lifetime of reactivity. Real-life situations where the pause wins. In relationships, you hear something hurtful. You pause. You ask for clarification instead of lashing out. Conflict avoided. At work, a colleague takes credit for your idea. You pause. You gather facts. You respond with confidence, not accusation. Respect gained. With yourself, you feel discouraged. You pause. You remind yourself of your long game. Progress continues. The Stoics didn't live perfect lives. They lived measured ones. They bought themselves time between the world's noise and their own voice. And that's what made them strong. What happens without the pause? Ego takes over. Regret increases. Relationships fracture. Trust erodes, especially self-trust. You become reactive instead of reflective. And worst of all, you train yourself to be a puppet of emotion, not a master of action. The Stoic knows, if I don't pause, I am not choosing. I am being dragged. Practice the 3-second rule for life. For the next 24 hours. Try this: whenever you feel triggered, pause. Count 1 to 2 to 3. Then respond. Start small. in traffic, on email, while scrolling, in a disagreement. You'll begin to notice how rarely your first reaction is your best one. Long-term benefits of pausing: clearer communication, fewer regrets, deeper relationships, sharper decisions, greater emotional control, a calm mind in a chaotic world. And over time, you won't just respond better, you'll become better, because each pause is a vote for the person you're becoming. Final reflection: no man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. The pause is your key to that mastery. It costs you nothing. It gives you everything, and it's available in every moment. If you choose to use it. Voluntary discomfort: train for chaos before it arrives. What if everything you fear right now is only terrifying? Because you've never trained for it. Discomfort is inevitable. The only question is, are you ready? Life is full of moments you didn't choose. Sudden loss, financial setbacks, illness, rejection, uncertainty. And when those moments come, most people are shocked, overwhelmed, broken. But the Stoics, they had already rehearsed. Why would anyone choose discomfort? Because avoidance creates weakness, and familiarity creates freedom. The Stoics believed, if you voluntarily expose yourself to challenge, on your terms, you'll never be fully at the mercy of challenge when it finds you. Set aside now and then a number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself, is this the condition I feared? Seneca. This was not masochism. It was mental and emotional immunity training. What voluntary discomfort looks like today. In ancient Rome, this might have meant wearing rough clothing, sleeping without a blanket, fasting for several days, walking barefoot. Today, it might mean cold showers, leaving your phone behind for 24 hours, saying no to an indulgence, taking the stairs, sleeping on the floor for one night, fasting for 12 to 24 hours, having that difficult conversation you've been avoiding. These actions aren't for suffering's sake. They're to remind you of this truth: I can do hard things, and I don't need as much as I think I do. Why it works: psychology meets philosophy. From a psychological perspective, this practice reduces your fear of pain and loss, expands your comfort zone through exposure, rewires your nervous system to respond, not panic, builds discipline, clarity, and emotional endurance. From a Stoic perspective, it sharpens virtue. It prepares you for fortune's fluctuations. It teaches you to own your desires, not be owned by them. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Epictetus. Real-life Stoic, Seneca's wealth and wisdom. Seneca was one of the richest men in Rome. But once a month, he practiced living as if he were poor. Plain food, simple clothing, no luxury. Why? So that if everything were taken from him, his peace would remain. He knew, luxury is addictive. Comfort weakens courage, and attachment is vulnerability. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor. Seneca. Discomfort on purpose equals confidence on demand. When you train in discomfort, you gain quiet confidence. You know you can be cold and still function. You know you can be hungry and still be kind. You know you can lose and still keep your integrity. Now imagine walking into your day with that kind of power. No mood can shake you. No outcome can own you. No loss can steal your character. Build a discomfort practice, weekly or monthly. Start small. The goal is controlled difficulty, not harm. Small blue diamond emoji. Step 1. Choose your discomfort. Pick one thing that feels inconvenient, uncomfortable, or even mildly unpleasant, but safe. Examples: take a cold shower. Eat plain food for a day. Leave your phone at home. Walk somewhere you'd normally drive. Fast until dinner. Wear the same outfit all week. Small blue diamond emoji. Step 2. Reflect during the experience. Ask yourself, what emotion is rising right now? What story am I telling myself? What virtue can I practice? Patience, humility, resilience. Small blue diamond emoji. Step 3. Ask the Seneca question. Is this the thing I feared? Spoiler, it won't be. And that's where the power lives. What happens over time? As you repeat this practice, you'll notice You stop avoiding hard conversations. You stop needing constant comfort. You become more decisive. Your tolerance for pressure expands. You can stand alone if needed, without fear. Because your strength is no longer theoretical. It's earned. In a soft world, you become the rock. Let's be real. Comfort is sold to you constantly. The easier path. The softer chair. The faster delivery. But comfort without hardship creates weakness. And the world doesn't need more weak people with strong opinions. It needs people who can endure pressure without panic. People who can choose discipline over indulgence. People who can lead, not just when things are easy, but when they're brutal. That kind of person? They're rare. That kind of person? They're stoic. Final reflection. If you wish to be a man of your word, if you wish to be free, then practice being uncomfortable, not in punishment, but in preparation. Modern Stoic application. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your edge. Lean into it. Train with it. Learn from it. And when life throws real pain your way, you'll be the calmest one in the room. Evening reflection. Brutal honesty. Lasting change. What if your greatest opportunity for personal growth happened not during the day, but in the final 15 minutes before you sleep? Why most people waste the end of their day. Let's be honest, how do most people end their day? Scrolling mindlessly, binging shows, eating out of boredom, avoiding hard thoughts, falling asleep in distraction, not reflection. But the Stoics, they ended the day with one simple, powerful act, self-examination. Without ego. Without excuse. Without filters. Because the Stoic didn't want to feel good at night. They wanted to get better. Why reflection matters. During the day, you're in motion. You're reacting. Navigating. Performing. But at night, when things are quiet, that's when your true self shows up. You see your patterns. You hear your justifications. You notice the gaps between what you said you'd do and what you actually did. This is not to shame yourself, it's to face yourself, and grow. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates. I examine my day every evening. I weigh my actions. I judge them. Seneca. What Stoic evening reflection looks like. Unlike modern journaling, Stoic reflection wasn't about feelings, it was about character. Seneca had a three-part structure. What did I do well? Where did I fall short? What can I do differently tomorrow? Simple. Brutal. Liberating. This habit doesn't let your weaknesses stay hidden. It also doesn't let your strengths go unnoticed. At the end of each day, review your words and deeds. Ask yourself, have I become better? Or have I retreated? Epictetus. How to practice it in 10 minutes or less. You don't need a fancy journal. You just need a quiet space and willingness to look within. Small blue diamond emoji. Step 1. Set the scene. Turn off distractions. Sit on the edge of your bed. Or stand in front of a mirror. Ask yourself seriously, how did I live today? Small blue diamond emoji. Step 2. Ask the 3 Stoic questions. 1. What did I do well? Did I keep calm in that meeting? Did I listen more than I spoke? Did I stay aligned with my values? 2. Where did I fall short? Did I speak harshly out of ego? Did I avoid responsibility? Did I seek approval instead of truth? 3. What will I do differently tomorrow? Speak slower. Stay off my phone at lunch. Pause before reacting. Memo emoji. Write these down. Keep it honest. Keep it short. Why brutal honesty builds unshakable confidence. Most people avoid looking at their flaws because they fear it will crush their self-esteem. But the Stoic knows, the opposite is true. Brutal honesty builds unshakable self-trust. Because when you know your weaknesses, and you face them directly, they lose power. And when you track your own progress, not for praise, but for principle, you become someone you respect. What happens when you do this every night? After 30 days of consistent evening reflection, you'll notice clearer self-awareness, faster recovery from mistakes, stronger self-discipline, greater peace of mind, less emotional confusion. You'll stop drifting through your days, and start directing them. Bonus, use your reflection to guide tomorrow morning. Here's the magic. At night, you write, tomorrow, I will pause before I speak to Sarah. The next morning, You begin your morning reset with that exact intention. This creates a loop of alignment: evening reflection, morning intention, daily action, evening growth. This is how Stoicism becomes a system, not just a quote. Common obstacles, and Stoic responses. I don't have time. You scrolled for 40 minutes. You have 10 for truth. I don't want to think about my mistakes. Avoidance is not kindness, it's self-abandonment. I already know what I did wrong. Knowing isn't enough. Seeing it in writing changes you. Real-life application: how Marcus used this practice. Marcus Aurelius didn't publish his meditations. He wrote them to correct himself. Privately. Daily. His nightly notes were filled with reminders like, stop being distracted by what you cannot control. You've been angry too much lately, why? Live with less complaining. No excuses. You could die tomorrow. Were you proud of today? This wasn't self-pity. It was radical inner refinement. And it made him a better man, leader, and thinker, day by day. Final thought: just as you wouldn't go to sleep with dirt on your body, don't go to sleep with dirt in your mind. Modern Stoic insight: evening reflection is your spiritual shower, a mental reset, a moral recalibration. Each night, you're given one final chance to meet yourself, and choose better tomorrow. Don't miss that meeting. Conclusion: this isn't just philosophy, it's a way of life. What if the person you've always wanted to become has been waiting inside you all along, just one habit away? You've made it this far. Through ancient texts, modern applications, mental battles, emotional tools, through silence, discomfort, discipline, reflection, and resilience. And now you stand at a crossroads, not of theory, but of choice. Because here's the truth: Stoicism isn't something you learn. It's something you practice, every single day. These 7 habits were never about the habits. The morning reset, inner control, the power of pause, voluntary discomfort, evening reflection, detachment from outcome, the courage to live with virtue. Each habit was a doorway. What lies behind each one is freedom. Freedom from ego, freedom from fear, freedom from needing the world to go your way, and most of all, freedom to become who you were meant to be. This isn't about becoming stoic, it's about becoming whole. You don't need a toga or a marble statue to live like a stoic. You just need a quiet mind, a courageous heart, a commitment to truth, and the willingness to show up, even when it's hard. Because in a world full of noise, distraction, ego, and excuses, the person who lives with principle becomes rare. And the rarest people, they become unforgettable. What happens now? You could close this and scroll on. That would be easy. But the Stoic path was never for the easy life. It was for the meaningful one. So here's your invitation. Choose one habit. Start tonight or tomorrow morning. Not because you're broken, but because you're finally ready to train like a philosopher, and live like a warrior. Final challenge: don't just be inspired. Be transformed. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. That's it. Not because the journey is over, but because it never ends. And that's the beauty of it. You're not chasing perfection. You're building a foundation. And one day, when the world shakes, you'll smile quietly to yourself and think, I was made for this. Thank you. Thank you for walking this path, for exploring these ideas with courage and openness, for not settling. And if you found strength, insight, or clarity from this series, share it. Live it. Practice it. Not because Stoicism needs more followers, but because the world needs more principled people, like you.